Welcome back to another exciting episode of Wrestling with the Business. I am your host, Jeremy the Varsity Athlete Bodette. With me, as always, is Matthew the Professor Lambert and the GM himself, Dan the Man Shevlin. Wow, so been a couple of quiet weeks, and that's over.
Yeah, everything drops at the same time.
That's over. When it rains, it pours. We say things come in threes, so what have we got? Let's see, we've got Royal Rumble coming up. We've got the Netflix deal, / The Rock joining the TKO board. Not to mention a couple of things going on, maybe with Vince McMahon. We'll get to a little bit later. Some controversy.
When it rains, it pours.
Boy, he was a real magician at the beginning, and now he's an albatross around the neck of that company. It's amazing how yesterday's treasure is today's trash, isn't it?
No kidding.
Let's get through some news and rumors. First thing, before we get started, smash that like button, put it in a headlock, drive it into the mat. We got some great views on the FCA this week. Very pumped to see that over 400 of you have enjoyed the premature deaths of wrestlers as much as
random.
As much as
They're
Matt
a bunch
and I
of
did.
sick freaks.
So, thanks for hanging out with us. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Get on our Twitters, which we have been much more active on lately. Still, as of this taping, we have more followers than we are following. So our head, nose, barely above water. Keep us above water.
Are you behaving on Twitter?
Reasonably
X.
so. In the last couple of days, it's been nothing but reposts because it's just been crazy. There's been so many controversial things that I feel like I can't comment on.
When I think of you in the Twitter X account, I think of a troll who's sitting there waiting to go after somebody when they comment or go. I just no. Do you think that I think you're looking for the next Twitter battle.
I am looking for the next.
You love it,
whip.
which is great. There's a lot. I would do that myself.
Yes, I do get much enjoyment from that. More enjoyment than I do out of Facebook. But follow us on Facebook too, because that's where the really
There's more
good
chit chat on Twitter.
Okay, so let's do AEW first, because there's going to be a lot of WWE news. So Dralistico has signed a 4-year deal with AEW. How do we feel about this addition?
Good for him. He's a good luchador.
Do we think that's going to do anything for AEW, though?
No.
No, it's not going to do a damn thing.
No. It'll make for some good matches for the hardcore fans, but it's not going to draw anybody new in.
I don't know. I don't know what they need to do to be successful. I don't know. They've signed a
maybe
ton of people.
Maybe it'll draw people in, south of the border.
Sure. Yeah.
It's
I don't
just
even know
added
how
to
they
an
get
already
AEW down
crowded
there, but-
roster.
They need to get their streaming up and running, because that puts them on a more global...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, as it is right now, internationally, everyone can watch AEW on Fight, or on, no, it's new name now, Triller.
yeah, Triller, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they need something
They need to get
solid.
on an HBO and Netflix.
They just need to
and
clean it
Amazon.
up. They need to simplify it. Yes, look, the one of their hurdles is gone. Now they can worry about.
It seems to me like they are kind of humoring their upper level talent. This Adam Copeland match from last night on Dynamite.
With Suzuki.
Suzuki.
Yeah, I think
That seemed like it was for him.
Yeah, the past several weeks I think have been for him.
Yes, this whole Cope, what is he calling it?
Cope Open.
Cope Open,
He
yeah.
did Griff Garrison. He did Lee Moriarty. He's working with all the young guys now and like dream matches and whatnot.
Moriarty's good, but the rest of them, yeah, it's like, I don't know.
It's just guys he wants to work with.
Exactly. It seems like it's really helping him. So that could be one change, is stop catering to the Hulk Hogan. I mean, Adam Copeland.
They have all the basics. They just gotta, I feel like when
it
you look
together.
at like TNA and you look at WCW back in their day when they were kind of at the same 4 years, so they have a good TV deal. They have a good presence. They have a following. They just have to clean. I think there's just too much going on. They just gotta clean it up. They gotta make some for better storylines with not so many people and just build. I mean, I know you guys say they're great at it. They just got to build some of the guys that they have. Stop signing them and build the ones that you have. I mean, it's great. They signed a 4-year deal. I mean, they'll help them in that market for sure. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, I feel like it's just adding to an already crowded roster.
Yeah.
They're really pushing Swerve now. They're pushing
Yep.
Hangman. They're starting to push Wardlow again.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, he's kind of the face of the new...
Undisputed
yeah,
Kingdom.
the new Undisputed Kingdom.
And he hasn't said hardly a word yet.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's just muscle.
We'll see.
Let's shift to the business side a little bit here. There's some rumors going around that Dynamite could kind of be a hybrid cable / streaming.
And how would that work?
Yeah,
I-
what does that even mean?
I think that they wouldn't make it exclusive or have like a 1 month delay like Peacock does with their WWE content. They would simultaneously stream it on both locations the way Paramount does with the football games on CBS, or the way who's doing the basketball games now?
ESPN, and then ESPN,
Is it Hulu?
and Warner Brothers.
You're right. Yeah, it's HBO, right?
No, actually, they do it on TNT, TBS.
Right. So they would just do a simulcast, basically.
So you're
I guess
saying
you'd
that
call
it would be on live.
It would be on TNT and then on a streaming service at the same
streaming
time.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't know if it would bank in that streaming service, so you'd be able to like TiVo it, like
What streaming service would do that has live capabilities like that?
Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah, if they're with Warner Brothers, it's got to be HBO.
Well, it would have to be HBO then.
Yeah. Warner Brothers. I mean, they basically all could do it. I mean, they all,
Netflix is going to be doing it now.
But like, what's
shortly.
the? I mean, how many people do you think don't have some kind of TV service? What's the benefit? Like, you really think people don't have TV services? They just have HBO?
I don't. That's
There you go. That's everybody.
Well, it's 1/3 of this table. I mean, you don't have cable, but you've got Sling.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's 2/3 that don't have cable at this table. So that, I mean, that's
I don't like.
it does allow you to reach.
I'll talk about it later. I don't like.
It does allow you to reach a wider audience, and if you have an international audience, you have to get to that audience. And HBO Max is a global. No matter what country you are, you can download it and you can get an account and you can watch. So, versus having to have TBS or TNT or sign up for some global streaming cable service at $70 a month or whatever it is they're going to charge you. YouTube TV or whatever. AEW is trying to bring back the ranking system.
Yep, they've been talking about it a lot the past week on TV.
It's failed. It's failed already. They're bringing
No
it
good.
back again.
Yeah.
No good.
This feels kind of like flailing to me on Tony Khan's part, trying to distinguish himself.
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's trying to set AEW apart. Go back to the things that made him popular in the beginning.
Well, and he's
That-
called out Jinder Mahal, the Jinder Mahal getting a title shot thing.
Right.
He was all over Twitter when that happened.
Did we ever talk about that?
Briefly.
Yeah,
It was
briefly
during.
mentioned it.
I think
a
it was.
disaster.
I think it happened around the time I had to. I carried the show that week.
Flying it solo.
Yeah. So it just got mentioned, but I mean, yeah, it didn't go well. It was a waste of time. He went crazy on Twitter. Everyone called him out for going crazy on
He had
Twitter.
a meltdown.
Yeah, I mean,
It does add to some of the stories a bit. Like this past week, Darby Allin and Sting are saying, they're an undefeated tag team, so that makes them #1 contenders.
and in 2 weeks they're getting the title shot.
Right. So
Which they
it can add to certain storylines like that, but it's also, I mean, like you said, it's already failed. They've already tried it, and it doesn't work.
You paint yourself into a corner if you're not careful.
It hasn't worked for anybody. WWE did this. They did the Power 25 for a long time. And it just didn't... What's the purpose of it? Like, seriously. The problem is, this would make sense if it was a real ranking system. But the reality is, it's scripted. Okay? They're picking who they want to move up and move down the charts. I mean, there's no... The problem is, this was a... If sports... Wrestling sports was real... Okay, and these are like real, and people were really winning, not winning based off of what really happened, and it wasn't scripted. Then those type of rankings would work. But they're just, who cares? I'm not interested in following a ranking system when everything is scripted already. Like it's scripted who's moving up and who's moving down. I mean, there's just what's the point of it? And WWE tried it, it failed. AEW tried it, it failed. And why try to do it again? As far as going back to what made them great before, I think just go back with Tony Khan just trying to change a lot of things to try to get some momentum, whether it's good or bad. I see no need for
This
it.
doesn't seem like a game changer to me.
No.
It's not going to convince anybody to watch.
They do need to differentiate themselves, but they need to do it with, different rules for matches or whatever. Like, one thing they don't really push at all is in the very beginning they said for tag matches you get a 10-second count for your partner to be in the ring instead of a 5-second count. That's never played into anything. Mm-hmm. So they try to set themselves apart like that, and it just they either drop it or it just doesn't work.
They need to start focusing on the talent.
Or the House of Black rules for their matches.
Which
That's
ended up
never-
being lame.
Yeah, that was never anything good.
They never really developed that.
They need to build some depth.
Related to that, ticket sales for AEW are having a really rough start in 2024. Besides Revolution, which is going to be in Greensboro, I believe at the Greensboro Coliseum, which is doing very well, 15,000 tickets I think they've moved so far. They keep expanding, and they're just about maxed out. Their weekly shows, Dynamite and Collision, are not doing well.
It was very noticeable on Dynamite this week.
Yeah.
The crowd was so silent.
They were just over 1,700 tickets
Yeah.
in Savannah, Georgia, despite having Adam Copeland, Sting, Darby
Suzuki.
Allin, Swerve, Jeff Hardy. I mean, the pops they were getting good pops, but yeah, you could tell it was not.
I think they had 4 women's segments.
There was a lot of women. Yeah, there was a lot of women's segments on
That's
there,
always good to see.
which was
but
nice. Yeah. I'm going to read a quote here directly from Dave Meltzer. There was a lot of weak advances in the last quarter, but they had a lot of shows where they got late buys, whether it was bringing in Okada or Mystico at the end, or having an MJF or Omega match, or just good local promotion, sending the guys in or lowering ticket prices, things like that. So I kind of got lulled into a sense of the advances suck, but it's not that bad. And it really wasn't that bad the last quarter. Well, now it is that bad, and it looks worse. I mean, it's like Wednesday's show. They're under 2,000. So there's a lot of talk about like WCW 2000 and whatnot as...
it's a little too soon to compare him to that. But
Well, I'll tell you now, know who's speaking a lot of negativity towards AEW? You mentioned it, is Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, he's
Has
going after
nothing
it. Yeah.
good to say about him.
he hates him.
And just talking about how it's getting stale and talking about some. I mean,
He's admitted he doesn't really watch the product.
so I mean, if there's one guy that I can listen to for a while, it's Eric Bischoff. Just the way he just. I mean, I'm not saying he's always right, but the way he explains and breaks down business, and he explains, like,
Yeah,
he
he's
does
good
make
with that.
some sense sometimes. He has some great points and stuff like that. I mean, I was listening to his podcast. I think it's like 82 weeks. I think it's called
83 weeks, yeah.
83 weeks, and he has some insight. It was a couple weeks ago he was talking about, obviously before everything that's changed this week, but he was talking about like the TV rights and stuff like that, and just really explaining, some of the issues and comparing it to WCW at his time. And obviously it's hard to compare them. But I mean, he has some interesting.
Yeah, in his explanation, he's done some really good explanations on whether he was overpaying wrestlers
Yeah.
back in the day. That really provides some interesting clarity, 20 years after the fact.
So does Tony need to bring in somebody like an Eric Bischoff to start writing the show or something? Or
I've been thinking about this a lot, what they would need to do. I think that they need, in order to expand to a wider audience, but without alienating the current audience they have, and I think I've mentioned this either on this show or on the FCA show before, they need to find members of pop culture that are as passionate about wrestling as Tony Khan is. And they exist. We know they're out there. I'm thinking of like Bad Bunny is a great example of somebody you could bring in, maintain kayfabe, maintain the art, while appealing to a wider audience. That would bring people know about Bad Bunny from his music. They might tune in to see him, and he's going to maintain the purity of the wrestling product. Obviously, you don't bring in somebody like a football star or somebody like that just to get eyeballs. That's sports entertainment. But you bring somebody in that can really wrestle, that can really carry. I would even say somebody like a Logan Paul, somebody with alternative combat experience in boxing, MMA, that kind of a thing.
I think two things. I think you're partly right there, and that WWE over the last year and a half have brought in a lot of people that have buzz behind them. You can start with Cody Rhodes. You can start with Logan Paul. You can start with CM Punk. There's just a lot of buzz behind them, right? And I feel like you take those elements out, and WWE didn't really have much going on either. But you throw in those things that have come together for them. But you talk like Edge. I mean, Edge didn't have buzz with him. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I feel like with Edge, I do feel like it's 50-50. I think a lot of people do feel betrayed that he left. And I think obviously the AEW fans are like, oh yeah, great, but I think the reasoning for signing him, at least from Tony Khan's standpoint, was he can bring a lot of people over. And I feel like
he hasn't.
I feel like on the WWE side, people feel betrayed by that. You know, I know he's Adam Copeland now, but Edge was Edge, and if you're an Edge fan, you don't want to see Adam Copeland. Like, it's not like, I feel like that didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, I even think Chris Jericho's kind of the same way. I think a lot of people in WWE liked Chris Jericho in WWE, and it's hard to see him sometimes. I know he's been there forever now, but since day one. But it's hard to see him, in AEW. But I think if you're looking for a rebound, you can hire some more crafted writers that understand the wrestling circuit. But I think you have to fire half the talent. Fire half the talent and develop the half you keep.
Well, the ones that have left, he hasn't seemingly fought to keep.
Get rid of them.
So
you have an overcrowded
might be doing
roster that you just don't know what's going on because every match has 6 people involved. Fire half of them, clear out your roster. I know it's not money, so he's not saving money. It's more about freeing up the area, giving some more, flexibility, more one-on-one storylines, more. WWE has too many one-on-one, and AEW has too many 5v5, 4v4. It's the complete opposite. And, and I feel like they're doing a little bit better than this one, but, clear up the roster. Let people go. Get rid of the negativity. People who aren't wrestling, get rid of them. Clear it out. Focus on the 100 superstars you have. You only have one show that's live. That's 2 hours. Think
Two
about
shows
it.
are live.
It's
Collision's
Collision
live.
Live. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Two, but they're only 2 hours. It's not like you don't have. I think he's got to free up the roster a little bit and start developing. Give some of those guys the creativity to do their own thing. I know they do, but. Give them some extra creativity, let them do their own
I think
thing.
you need to find a way to get out into the pop culture while maintaining your purity, and they exist. I mean, you could find somebody with a couple 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, get them in, and if they love wrestling and they're willing to do some training and they're not like Snoop Dogg. We don't want that kind of a thing. We want somebody like a Bad Bunny. Maybe a Bad Bunny Jr. It's going to be a little bit cheaper and, but appeal to a wider audience and get people that like music, get people that like other kinds of sports, get people that like movies or whatever. Find somebody that's really passionate about it and that can do it and bring them in. And that's how you grow your base. And then you start creating a recurring, success that you can really build off of. All right, let's move on to WWE. So, in a very interesting turn of events, very unexpected for me, reports have leaked that Okada is set to sign with WWE through their NXT brand.
that is surprising.
Not really sure what that does for either one of them. I think we all kind of agreed that WWE, NXT doesn't really need him, and that he would just get buried and become the next Akira Tozawa.
Well, no, I don't
everyone's
think
gonna get buried.
I don't think that. I think he's going to overshadow.
Who's been brought in that hasn't been buried?
But that's always your argument anytime we talk about them signing someone. MJF, oh, they're not gonna bury
I don't think they get buried
gonna
until
bury
they go
him.
to the main roster.
Of course, that's true. Although now
But
you can
I
kind of
think-
get buried. NXT's growing a little bit. You can get a little bit
But
more
I think
buried.
Okada going to NXT, he's going to outshine everyone in NXT. And then if he goes to the main roster, then he'll be Shinsuke Nakamura. He'll be a mid-carder. I think that's what's going to happen to them.
Nakamura is kind of a little bit higher.
He
I
is
guess.
now.
Well, I mean,
I think the reason he's been getting pushed was to draw Okada in.
they never give him the belt. They always give him the match, right?
Right.
Well,
I
he's
mean,
not a guy to have the belt. It's like Undertaker. The belt doesn't look good on him.
If he's not in WWE, he's definitely the guy to have a belt.
yeah, he's the star almost anywhere else.
We're talking Shinsuke, right?
Shinsuke, yeah.
Yeah.
So, how does he not get buried going to AEW?
Who?
Okada.
How does he not get
But yeah,
buried?
but we
He
talk
gets
about-
buried 100%.
Okay, so wherever he's gonna go, he's gonna get buried.
He wouldn't get buried in AEW.
No.
No, he's good enough that he wouldn't get buried in AEW.
If it kind of comes to your argument of the amount of people there.
How did you not
'Cause
get buried?
Okada, I mean, you could argue Jay White is on the same level of Okada because they've both been the Japan's top champion. But since Jay White's been in AEW, he's kind of been a mid-carder. He had that one feud with MJF, but now he's a trios champ, you know? So-
Okada's a wrestler, true and true. You put a wrestler in WWE, they're going to get buried.
Yeah.
They want workers. They don't want wrestlers. They want hustle, loyalty, and respect. They want the big dogs here. They want the gimmick.
First
Okada
off-
can't cut a promo
First
on
off,
WWE.
Shinsuke had been with WB for how long now?
A long
Since
ass time.
2017,
All right, so
16.
he's at the point where he's getting a little stale. That's why he's not getting that much. When you're talking about getting buried, when you're talking Okada, I think NXT perfect. He shows up there. He can star there. It's a perfect brand for him to start his WWE career on. He'll shine. He's not gonna get buried there.
He'll
do
cut a
well. He'll
promo.
stay in the headlines. Probably win the belt. Be the face of NXT for a year or two, and then he'll move on. At AEW, he may be out for the hot guy for the first couple, but he's gonna get buried at AEW.
If they give him the belt, it diminishes the belt in NXT.
It
He
does.
can't cut a promo. He can wrestle. But that's it. That's all he can do. So he has to go to a wrestling promotion. And because he can't cut a promo, he'll be a mid-carder. He'll be good, solid cannon fodder. The international fans will like him. But you can't build a movement behind a guy that can't cut a promo, that doesn't have a gimmicky gimmick, for lack of a better... I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You look at anybody that's successful in WWE, they have a gimmicky gimmick. What's Gunther's gimmick?
Ring general.
Ring general. He gets over. Right? What's Roman Reigns' gimmick? Bloodline. And he gets over with that. Look at all the... What's Logan Paul's gimmick? They all get over because they all have great gimmicks. They can all cut promos. They all have great looks. Okada doesn't have that. He's got one of the three things you need to be successful in sports entertainment. But he has one of the one thing you need to be successful in AEW.
He doesn't have the looks.
He can wrestle. He doesn't have the look. He can't cut a promo. And he's a good wrestler. So he's 1/3 of a sports entertainer, but he's one of one when it comes to being a wrestler. New WWE dipping their toes into the reality waters once again. We saw an advertisement this week on Raw. I believe it's the first one for Love and WWE, Bianca and Montez, premiering February 2nd on Hulu.
I didn't realize there was a demand to see a show about Montez Ford and Bianca Belair.
There is. This show be canceled after a year.
Bianca's
Ms. and Mrs. lasted for like 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, but that was
Bianca's,
entertaining. Miz is entertaining.
Bianca's getting a little bit of a push. She was on the 2K24 cover with Rhea Ripley. So she's getting a little bit of love now. Obviously, she held the belt for a long time. This is clearly for Bianca, not for Montez Ford, right? I mean, he's always been one half of the Street Profits. He's never had his own real push. So we'll have to see how much success that is. Actually, in addition, we'll have to see what happens because at the end of this year, obviously, there's going to be a huge shakeup as far as where content's going to be located and where it's going to stream and all that stuff, which we'll get to in our
I'm looking.
deep
Did that
dives.
really get canceled? The Miz show?
I think it
I
did.
don't
I'm
It's
trying
on
to find
USA right after Raw, and I haven't seen it in a
I'm
while.
trying to see if it got canceled. I didn't mind that show. I don't see anything about it.
But who
I
knows?
didn't even realize Total Divas lasted for 9 seasons.
That was actually popular.
That was E, right?
My
that was on
sister
E.
watched that, and she's watching that, and she hates wrestling. I mean,
Had very little to do with wrestling.
I'm curious. We'll probably talk about this more later, though. All these shows going to streaming, how, like, if it's on network TV and the ratings are low, the show gets canceled. When it's something on Hulu or whatever, how do they determine if it's successful or not? Or do
they
they
can see hours watched.
or do they pay ahead of time and say it's going to have 3 seasons no matter what?
No, they keep track of hours watched, time watched.
It's really not that different. Yeah, you keep track of times downloaded, hours
like,
watched.
like what they're doing with like the Marvel shows, their Star Wars shows or whatever, or that Lord of the Rings show on Amazon. I mean, they've already paid for seasons to be made.
In those aspects, they're just keeping. I don't even think they care about. I mean, they obviously can see hours watched, but in those circumstances, it's about keeping subscribers and fresh content like the new Star Wars, new Marvel that keep people signed to Disney Plus. If they don't have shit like that coming out, people aren't going to say signed. They're going to delete their subscription, and go somewhere else. Like I live in a world right now where I try to have 3 streaming services a month. That's it, and I determine which ones I want. I have like right now I have Netflix, I have HBO Max, and I have Peacock. Those are the 3 I'm working with right now. Now, when I'm done with HBO Max, I'll delete that and I'll go watch something that I haven't watched, like Amazon or whatever. Like I'll move it around, but like Some people don't. There's a battle for content right now, and their battle is hours watched and keeping people subscribed, and that's why they have to keep fresh content coming out. If they don't have that content, then
yeah, even if the content's bad, though, they're still making...
They don't care as long as it's fresh content coming out. Like they don't. Yeah, and that's why you talk about watered down Marvel. Like Marvel's watered down now. DC, it's water. There's been so much content coming out.
Star Wars is a corpse. They keep digging up and
well, you have to again. How many times have you might subscribe to a new streaming service or even an old streaming service if they put something out you really want to watch? But how many times have they put something out and you're like, oh my god, I hate that so much, I'm unsubscribing? You have to show, like you said, if you have fresh content, that's a reason to hang on. Yeah. And they know once they get inside your pocket, it's really hard for you to pull them out. Sometimes you keep subscriptions that you don't even know you had, right? You forget that you even have them.
I mean, you look at, there's obviously a difference when you're looking at like the Marvel and Star Wars versus, let's say, like Total Divas, for example. Like, that's not expensive to create.
Right.
Like, these ones are all CGI. They gotta go through and do all of that. Like, that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, when you're talking, like, live shows, that's not, the budget-wise, it's cheap to make those. But they can obviously keep track of hours watched. I mean, that's probably the most indicator of if they keep a show or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they're gonna like these type of shows. They're gonna be live content where it's not, they don't have to pay so much in production stuff.
All right, last piece of news and rumors before we move on to the big stuff. It was announced officially this morning, Kevin Patrick has been officially released by WWE. It seemed like the internet, the overwhelming theme that I saw was, I just told him take him out of the commentary booth. I didn't say shit can the guy. It seemed like everybody hated him on commentary, but they wanted him to stay. They wanted him to be holding a microphone backstage.
Yeah, he started backstage. He was caught on camera doing the crab walk, so he looked shorter than the other wrestlers.
Didn't I just say a couple of weeks ago that like they were ready to take the floaties off of him and push him into the deep end? Like that they thought
that
he was
last week. Wasn't
he was like ready for prime time, and they're going to push him off and. Just cut his legs up.
Maybe because I don't spend that much time studying the commentary, but it seems like WWE has always had an issue of establishing a commentary team. Like just 2 weeks ago, Michael Cole is no longer on Raw. He's only going to be
they shuffled.
Why are you switching?
The
problem is there's so much shit going on. I can't keep track who's announcing and who's not. I know a lot of it was Vince. And now that Vince is out, maybe Triple H is kind of... But even with, like, Vince, Booker T would be on. Booker T would be removed. Jerry Lawler would be on. Jerry Lawler would move. Like, it's just so many, like...
Lately, it's been pretty stable. It's been Michael Cole,
Wade
Graves,
Barrett.
and Wade Barrett. Those have kind of been the big three. And it's been, okay, who's going to... Is Kevin Patrick coming in? Like, what are we going to do instead? I mean... I'm interested to see what they do to replace him.
Well, it'll be Michael Cole, I'm sure, for now.
I'm sure they'll have him float.
I mean, Cody Graves is great.
I'd love to see them bring Mauro Ranallo back.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do that, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
could, maybe.
They could do like a commentary or referee talent development program, too. I mean, who knows? You could have any one of these guys in NIL. Maybe they find out they got a really good voice.
I personally liked Pat McAfee on commentary. I thought
He's so obnoxious.
He is, but I thought... You got to look at something. That all changed. If you got when Pat McAfee came in, it changed. Like Michael Cole now. Anytime you see Michael Cole, he's standing and doing commentary. He's standing. Like that's the new thing now. Where like when you're at the end of the main event, Michael Cole's standing up and all excitement, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!"
I know his calls are so
that
obnoxious.
comes from Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee used to stand. So when you look at like Pat's kind of changed a little bit. In my opinion, a little bit of how the commentary was done. He gave more like he wasn't so scripted. He just said things like, and I think Michael Cole has really followed that a little bit. And it's now like he just oh my God. Like,
yeah, I think what they do is you're right. I think that they have kind of laid off a little bit. I think maybe Triple H is a little bit less in their ear.
Oh, for sure.
And I think they write maybe one or two things for each match that they want to say, and then they kind of just let it be. And the problem with that is it's become so ham-fisted and obvious. I mean, the guys coming out and they're like, "It's fight night!"
Yeah.
You know, because the Brawling Brutes are coming out and you're like, "Oh, thank God that's over
they
at the
have to
beginning."
say something. But I think if you're able to get Pat McAfee back and have Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, I think Cody Graves is great. I think actually Wade Barrett's pretty good.
I don't think
too.
they're going to pay Pat to come back. He's got his own thing.
And they have to hire a main guy to have a 3-man with Cody Graves, Wade Barrett.
I like the 2-man booth. I
I do too, but I mean, for Raw,
Yeah,
Raw
Wade
you
and
should have
Corey,
3.
neither one of them can be play-by-play.
For Raw, you should have 3 people. That's a long show for 2 people. I know half of it's commercials, but still.
It would be good to see somebody like an old producer or something. I would say Kevin Dunn or somebody like that come out and try and do a play-by-play.
Kevin Dunn.
No, definitely not him.
I mean, I just listed him as somebody that's been there for forever and is from backstage, but
Bring
somebody
Vince McMahon
like
back out.
somebody like that. I'm not saying him specifically would be a good fit, but
Shane McMahon.
Oh God.
actually, one other thing,
That
real
would be
quick,
bad.
before we go into the deep dives. Little confusing news on JR. So he doesn't have a contract. His contract
know.
is up like on Valentine's Day or something. He doesn't have another contract signed with them. Says he wants to, but then says it's looking like he's not going to be at Sting's
Can I
last
say one
match,
thing? Can I say one thing?
Which doesn't make any sense to me because that's
I love
Third.
JR. By far the best announcer of all time, in my opinion. Should be respected. Is great.
But
God is my witness. He's broken in half.
No, seriously. It's he had some of the best. I mean, I love his commentary. It's
I
fantastic.
would love to just watch like a montage of all
But-
his best calls.
Retired.
He's basically retired.
Retired, and stop talking about it online. Just move on.
Well,
And
he's trying. Hang on.
No. Every week I get on and I see JR talking about it. Who cares? I don't care about
He's
JR.
trying to keep people listening to his grilling
I get
JR
that, but just
podcast.
retire. Go to cook some barbecue. Live on your money you made from Just retire. I mean, he sounds bad listening to him, and I'm glad Tony Khan finally kind of saw that. He just wasn't.
They should give him like a Legends contract, have him come back to
Comes
do
back for the major
Edge's
matches,
last
yeah.
match, Sting's last. Just bring him back
Now-
a couple of times a year to wave at the crowd.
Just to make things a little bit interesting, because I love to make things interesting. They fire this guy. JR is now available.
Again, Legends contract,
I'm
bring him
just
back
saying,
on a
just
Legends
to make
situation.
things interesting.
I would have him call like the Royal Rumble.
It's funny how these things all line up, where
You
this
know-
guy gets fired, JR is now on the table
I
for,
think-
it's just like,
I think JR's he's a little bit out of place now.
Triple H loves JR.
You know, don't get me wrong, but what I'm trying to say is one of the critical things that I hear JR say all the time and tweet about all the time is, I hate the way that finishers aren't finishers anymore. Tell me which one that I'm supposed to sell. I don't know. And
Yeah, I
today,
agree.
hitting a finisher and kicking out of it is par for the course.
Yep.
I think he is 1980s, 1990s, early 2000s, and it was a different product and it was a different age, and now he's just a man from
No,
a
I agree.
different
They
time.
should go back to that.
And
a
he's-
rock bottom used to get a pin.
I would like to see that too. Nobody ever kicked out of the Razor's Edge, right? That's the way that it should have been, right? But it's a new age, and I think he's just not a great fit for the new
Yeah, he just needs to
choreographed.
retire and move on. Go do a podcast like Eric Bischoff, and people would love to listen to him talk
He
about
does,
his analysis.
grilling
I
with
know.
JR.
I'm just focus on that, and that's it. And
Yeah.
say, but don't be. I mean, this whole my contract's up. I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
They should sign him for a couple of times a year. Sign him for specific matches that you've mapped out. Come back for Sting's last match. Come back for whatever.
I've never
just
bought
let it
into
be.
that. Someone coming back for one match. I've never.
All right.
I hated that when the W used to do that.
Let's dive deep. The big news of the week. Actually,
And it's deep.
right before we get into it, sorry to bury the lead again, but there was a court filing today against Vince McMahon.
You just can't stop talking about it.
He was-
It's like so. He
He
loves
was
it.
mentioned. I'm going to do a separate video on this because I'm fascinated by it, if you weren't listening to Dan 10 seconds ago. There was a filing, Vince McMahon, along with John Laurinaitis in WWE. There were some claims of sex trafficking and other very crazy claims made. I'm still in the process of digging into it, but I will do a deep dive into that offline. But I just wanted, because it is news and rumors, I wanted to make a note of it. So look for that video in the next few days coming out. Okay, now let's dig in.
Well, hey, I was walking around here before you got here, and we're getting to show, and Steve's walking around getting everything, and he's sitting there, and he's reading it out loud for like 20 minutes.
I was
and like
reading it
Steve's
out loud.
like Steve's fascinated
Yeah.
into it. And I'm just like, what's going on here?
I stopped reading, thinking that nobody was listening, and then a couple of paragraphs later, Steve goes, "So how's that whole sex file claim thing going?" I'm like, oh, you were listening. All right, I'll keep reading.
Crazy.
I'll keep reading it.
Even though it's a really bad thing, I live for drama.
Yes, it's fascinating. So, 50 Shades of McMahon coming soon. All right, let's get into it.
Steve loves the drama.
So,
Oh,
the news has broken.
Raw has a home.
Raw has finally found a home, signs a 10-year, $5 billion streaming agreement with Netflix starting in January of 2025. 1,000 interesting questions associated with this.
For Raw and PLEs. I didn't notice that before.
So, that was the initial reporting that I had read. Now it would appear that PLEs and their archived content
Is
staying
Peacock.
on Peacock, along because SmackDown is staying with Universal. So let's make it clear here. So we got NXT that's going to go to CW. We've got SmackDown that's essentially going to go to USA.
Yep.
And Peacock is going to keep the archived content and the PLEs. And then we have Netflix, which is going to get Raw, and it looks like global streaming.
All
Yeah.
international.
So they're
All
going to get it for
international.
everything else.
and
So that means the
additional-
WWE network that is international
dead.
now is gone.
and they
is
get
dead.
rights to all like original content and original series and stuff like that.
Correct. Anything new that's developed. Now,
So
there.
like the A&E biography stuff.
No, I think that's still. But that style
That
stuff
style.
going
Right.
forward. is
I'm
gonna
sure
go.
they're gonna have some new stuff that like if a Mr. or Ms. and Ms.
Kind of
show
thing.
came out, that would go to Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple interesting things to note that I noticed right off the bat. There is a sort of a 5-year back out clause. If people aren't happy, we can back out after 5 years. We can extend it an additional 5 years if everybody
10.
loves an additional 5 years on top of the 10, making it 15 total.
Right.
Is a possibility. Second thing I noticed, $500 million a year is double what Raw is pulling right now.
Yeah.
Insane. The third thing I noticed is that puts a gap because the current Raw contract is up in September.
October 1st.
Right, sorry, the
yeah.
end of September.
End of September.
The new contract doesn't start until January, and everything that I've read indicates that NBC Universal is like, yep, nope, we're not extending it. We're outie if you're not staying with us. We're done. And Netflix hasn't said anything about like starting earlier, getting them extra money. So the way it stands right now, not saying this is going to hold, but the way it looks right now is Raw doesn't have a home for the last quarter of 2024. So they're gonna have to go to YouTube maybe, or they're gonna have to
Well, let's
have
tackle
Netflix
these
start
What
issues.
early.
about
One-
Peacock?
Well, not Raw.
Let's
SmackDown maybe.
let's tackle these.
Well,
One.
no. SmackDown's going to USA in October.
Right, which owns Peacock. Well, Universal owns Peacock.
Okay.
So
So let's tackle these. Let's start with the gap. There's no way Raw's going off air for 3
I
4
can't imagine.
They're not going off air.
I can't
So
imagine.
I mean, that's the reality. They have a partnership with Peacock. They have a partnership with Universal. They're the same people. They will find. But if you're USA Network and you're
Universal has said no.
They've come
report
out and
that
said
I've
no.
read, They've come out and said no. That you're going to have to do something else. We are not going to continue airing Raw for the last 3 months.
they've
of the
actually
year.
made a statement.
Yes,
saying
they've publicly said.
that. I find
no.
it hard to believe they won't just extend it for 4 months and have additional content.
So they're going to
on
go.
USA Network.
They're going to go somewhere else, whether it be Netflix getting
They'll
pulled
go
in
to
3
Peacock
months,
then. They're
or
just
whatever
not-
it is.
Or they'll work out something with Netflix. I don't know. I mean, the Raw's just not going to go off air for 4 months.
I can't imagine that. But again, could do something crazy. Could go to the
Maybe.
WWE Network for 3 months before a WWE Network.
Or maybe they'll go to
cancels, or,
CW with NXT for 3 months.
You know, whatever they can do. Obviously, they don't need the money, but they need to maintain the customer base. You can't have people walk away for 3 months and expect them to come back.
Okay. So here's my thoughts on it, because I was a big component of Warner Brothers. So this wasn't a good day when I read this. So first off, in my opinion, this is essentially a 5-year deal. Because the reality is, you are paying $500 million a year.
Yeah, it's nuts.
They're not going to get what they want out of this. Okay? This is just merely Netflix branching into the live content and get them started. 5 years from now, I'm sure Netflix will have deals with a lot of other things for live content, and you're going to say this isn't worth it anymore. Okay? It's worth it right now for year 1 and 2, or 3 to branch off and create our live content. Because this is essentially Netflix is diving in
Yeah.
to live content. This is their first project in live
Really,
content.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Yes, this will get them going. It's probably worth it. But
This is the safest bet they could make.
but
too,
year
as
4
far
and
as
year
live.
5, Raw, you and I, look, I'm a big WWE fan. It's not worth $500 million a year. You think Netflix is going to be you just stop and say that $500 million a year for Monday Night Raw.
Netflix's stock is up, I think, 5%.
Okay, it's not. This is going to be a classic it's going to be a classic Fox SmackDown deal.
Overpay and step back.
After that, by year 4 or 5, everyone starts backing
So
away from the relationship.
you think Netflix wants to show NASCAR, NFL, NBA, MLB that they're serious about live
Yeah.
sports
But
entertainment?
I think this is a way for Netflix. Look, Netflix has money to piss away, okay? But at the same time, for Netflix to grow, they have to go into live content. They do. They do. It's a great way for
the
them.
future,
It's
yeah.
a great way for them to expand. Monday Night Raw is a great thing for them to test the market with. It probably has a lot of demand. I'm sure a couple of the wrestling series already that they've had on there have shown some success.
They've done well. The documentaries
Okay,
have done
so
well.
they're probably welcome, but any relationship when year 4 comes is going to start to break apart, and they're going to start to get hostile, and it's going to say you're not drawing in. We're paying you. It's just if
We
this
wanted
is going,
Brock Lesnar. You didn't bring him in.
this is going to be a classic 5-year and they're out. They won't. Or if they do happen to accept, so the option, the way it reads is they have a 5-year option to get out, or if they renew. They can renew for an additional 10 years, or they can just continue with the 5 that they have. So they have so basically.
So it could be up to 20 years.
Right. No. So it could be up to 15. So what that means after year 5,
At 5, you get 10.
they have the right to say, you know what, this is going
I
so
thought we
well.
Finish the initial
Right.
10 and then 10.
They're going
on
to say,
top.
this is going so well, we want 10 more years. Or you know what, we're okay with it, we're just going to keep the next 5, or we're done. So they have at 5 years the right to decide that. I just don't think it's going to sell well. I think the streaming option for wrestling, I don't think is great. I don't buy this. This is a down for me. I don't want to log on to Netflix to watch Raw. It's just a little bit. I don't like change. Some people be acceptable to it. There's gonna be something where it's gonna be one of those like I really just don't feel the same going on to Netflix to watch Monday Night Raw. And by the way, what do you do for commercials?
This puts Raw.
I read about the
You can
commercials, but go ahead.
shorten it.
No. But what do you? So when they go to
So
commercial,
they're-
how are they gonna continue showing the match?
No,
This-
yes, it's going to be like they do internationally with AEW. They're still going to do commentary because on Fight TV, where they
Right.
watch internationally, there are no commercials.
Right.
So they still do commentary while everyone else is in picture. They're still going to have commercials because there are levels of Netflix that you pay for ads.
Right.
So there are still going to be ad breaks.
So that's a whole next. How does commercials work? And because you have the people who pay for the commercials.
Well, my first thought is either you don't make this show available to them if they don't have that tier, if you're not at the $9.99 or $14.99, whatever that tier is. But
Could do that too.
you could, or you could make it available to them afterwards and then force the ad breaks into them at whatever appropriate interval makes sense. You could let an algorithm do that. But I would think, because Triple H hates the 3rd hour of Raw, thinks
not
it's the
getting rid of
worst
3
thing in the
hours.
world.
They're
They
not.
could make it a 2.5 hour show,
not.
let it run. Here's another thing. It's the only streaming service. So your back isn't up against a wall. If shit's going great and you need to go over, you don't have to put a hard stop on it. You can let them wrestle. You can let the main event go as long as the main event needs to go. And if it's 2.5 hours, and if it's 3 hours and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, your back's not up against the wall like Adam Copeland and Suzuki was, where they're racing around the ring trying to do a 15-minute match in 7.5 minutes because they don't have any time because everybody else went over.
I don't know how this is all. I mean, I don't know how the fundamentals work behind it, but like this is all different. Like Netflix Live, like, this is you're not on cable. You're just not on cable.
The initial quote, they quoted someone talking about the commercials and the ad breaks. It was someone who didn't know wrestling, but they specifically said there will be points where they sit in a long rest hold or a headlock.
Right.
And that's so the people who are paying for the level that doesn't get ads, we're going to
gonna
be
get
watching a
shat
show.
on.
Yeah, we're going to be watching a show where
I
they're
just-
sitting in a headlock.
I don't
for
know. I don't see
4
this
minutes.
working, but it is what it. I mean, it's gonna. Yeah, hey, it's gonna happen, right? We're gonna see the first 3 years, but I think year 4 you'll start to see the Not really. We're
If
way
that's
over.
true, that sucks because now instead of, like I said, potentially opening up opportunities for wrestlers to really expand, now you're putting restrictions on them and you're saying, "Hey guys, 30 seconds and we got to see a double down."
Yeah. It's like
No.
a few years ago when Raw was doing, or WWE was doing, they were stopping the matches for ad breaks. They would like do a disqualification or, stop the match, and then after the commercial restart it as a tag match or whatever.
Or maybe we just see maybe they just put more hype videos in for the commercial breaks. And we see it like WrestleMania when you watch, or any PLE for that matter, there's a 5-minute hype video in between each match. Maybe they just make extra hype videos in between it, and we watch the hype instead of watching the commercial. I don't know how long the commercials are, but linked to this very interesting piece of news, same day they announced that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been added to the board of TKO, and as part of the agreement, he will get, essentially, like Dobby from Harry Potter, he'll get his name back. He'll get his name. So he now owns...
The Rock.
Does he own Rock Bottom, or is it just The Rock?
Just The Rock.
So he owns his name again, which is probably a huge favor Triple H did for him.
See, I always thought he didn't want the name The Rock when he started acting because he wanted to be known for his acting.
Well, at first he wanted to separate it. Now it's just everyone knows. I think.
And my understanding is he kind of took a Cena approach, which is like, hey, Vince McMahon made me. If he wants to take 5 or 10% for the rest of my life, then I'm happy to do it. So my guess is this was something that Triple H kind of threw on top to be like a sign of good faith. We want you on the board, blah, 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 and we're going to give you your name, your trademark.
Is that
It's
a Triple
yours.
H decision to put him on the board?
I don't know that it's a Triple H decision, but if I was Triple H and I saw any hesitation from him joining the board, that's the first thing I would offer up. I don't know what the value is to
Triple H
WWE.
isn't on the board. He's not on the board.
Right, I'm not saying Triple H.
But but Triple H can't put The Rock on the board because he's not on the board himself.
I'm not saying he can. But if TKO wants him on the board, presumably they do because they put him there. So if TKO wants him on the board and he's like, I don't know, I would call Triple H on the phone and I'd say, hey, your pal Rock, we want him on the board here. How do we get him on the board? And if I'm Triple H, the first thing I'd say is, well, we could offer him his name back. I don't know how much value it is to our company anymore. I don't know what our piece is, but I mean, it's the man's name. Like, it's the thing all the wrestlers...
I think for sure this is definitely good for business, and it's good for TKO business. Having The Rock involved, having The Rock on the board, having The Rock have invested interest in...
Dude, he's ascending. He's not a movie star anymore.
Who?
The Rock.
I think he's still the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
He sits on the new, what is it? What are they calling it? The XFL combined with the USFL. Yeah. They did that merger. He sits on that board. He's got obviously umpteen smaller companies of his own, the vodka and
tequila,
whatever else. Now he's on he sits on the board for TKO. I mean, he's really becoming a mogul. I mean, he's becoming
energy drink too. He has an energy drink.
not to like try to like
brand.
Not to try to like politicize this, but he's like Trumpifying himself almost.
So
he's like becoming.
I think with The Rock,
setting up to become president.
I don't know.
No,
like,
but I think I think with The Rock and what kind of going off what you're saying is he got to such a high. You can't. At some point, you have to come down. And like the last 5 years, for example, and this is all throughout those 5 years, he had a ton of movies. Okay, wasn't a success, but leading up to it was just the big star of the new DC movie, Black Adam, didn't go well. But leading up to that, you have his desire to be in the ring. Everyone wanted him there. The new Under Armour brand, the XFL purchase. Like he was the drinking. He was everywhere. You can't walk into Dick's without seeing a big photo of him sitting up there. The huge Under Armour Rock. Like he's made a shit ton of money, and he's aligned himself with very, very big partners. And maybe there's a chance of he's taking a break. He's settling down for a while. Hey, I'm going to spend some time with family, do some things that I enjoy. But I do think, off what Jeremy said, I do think he got about 6 months of a lot of negative publicity. I think the whole DC shit that came out about him, trying to strap down the Shazam movie and everything that happened with the flop of Black Adam. It just a lot of negativity came from that. Where I think now,
Didn't he have something happen with Oprah too in the Hawaii fires?
yeah, you got a lot of negative. The
Yeah,
XFL
they did
bombed.
that fake fundraiser thing.
The XFL flopped out. I mean, so I think a lot of negativity happened where I think he's now saying, hey, what can I do to start building my image back up? And you know what it is? It's going back down to your roots and getting back into wrestling a little bit, get a lot of storylines going, build up momentum.
He's pivoting. He's pivoting to the business. He's pivoting to, yes, he's on the screen, but I think he knows at his age, he's not going to be wrestling for forever. He can't stay juiced up on steroids for forever. He's pivoting at the time when his stock is the highest it's ever been, probably maybe the highest it ever will be. He's pivoting into a business position. I mean, I think it's a brilliant choice, and I mean, I can't imagine it being unsuccessful given all the momentum that's behind TKO, all the momentum that's behind WWE right now. I mean, if he wanted to make an amateur decision, he'd call Tony Khan and make some kind of a deal. But he's going big time now. He's deciding he's gonna sit on the board, and he's probably gonna be at WrestleMania. But we might be seeing, in the next year or two, his last WrestleMania. This
so
might
he's
very well be.
co-owner of the United Football League.
Yes.
Still.
Yes.
He's still
he
partly
bought
owns
out
that.
Vince McMahon or something when Vince McMahon tried to
He
pull
bought
out
XFL from Vince McMahon.
for like $30 million or
So
something.
the XFL, so out of the new league, just to kind of the new UFL, Fox owns 50%, XFL owns 50%, and 50% of that would be between all of the XFL partners. So if I had to guess, Rock probably owns 25%. He probably owns 50%. He probably owns 50% of the XFL ownership, which owns 50% of the UFL. So he's still involved in that a little bit. I'm trying to find. I don't think there's any movies going right now.
He is, again, he's still going to dabble in a little bit. This isn't like a swerve or anything like that. But I think we're going to see less movies. He's going to be involved more behind the scenes. Maybe he creates a production company, something
He has
like
Seven
that.
Bucks Productions.
Yeah, he has a production
which
company.
does a lot.
Agencies, talent agencies, signing talent, developing talent, that kind of stuff. You're going to see him start to pull back from the movies a little bit more. He's going to pull back from the on-screen stuff, and you're going to see him really establish himself as a business-savvy type guy. And yeah, in 10 years, in 15 years, could he run for president in 2036 or something like that? I mean, that's the trajectory he's on.
Yeah.
There's at least 25 projects in development under $7. I mean, like the San Andreas 2 movie Rock was in, Red Notice, another one for those that he was in, the Scorpion King reboot.
Oh my God!
There's
With Jason Momoa, is Jason Momoa going to be the new Scorpion King?
There's a lot of he has a lot of things in development right now.
Yeah, it sounds like him from 20 years ago. They're going to have to CGI all his tattoos off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of shows in development.
They're going to bring Godsmack back to do the new song, too. For Scorpion King 2. So anyways, very exciting news. We'll have to see what happens. And obviously, I guess the last thing I'll say on this topic before we move on is I want to call you out here. How are you feeling about the whole AEW Warner Brothers Discovery thing now? Now that Warner Brothers, you were all about
shucks! I thought I was gonna get out of this one.
how do we put a thumb in the eye of AEW? Clearly, it seems that WWE was not interested in thumbing AEW's eye.
I think they were, but let's be honest. This deal is so ridiculous. You can't even. I mean, $500 million.
Well, that was the question I asked, right? How much money are you willing to leave on the table in order to F
Well, I don't think
Tony Khan?
anyone was going to match this. Warner Brothers wasn't going to match that.
No, but if Warner Brothers offered $300 million, would you
couldn't
leave
even
$200
Jeremy, you
million?
couldn't even come close to it. I mean, like even $300 million is outrageous. That's barely half of what. I mean, this is just such shit money that you have to accept it. Like, there's no. If I'm Warner Brothers, I'm seeing Netflix is offering. Okay, see you later.
Well,
There's nothing you can do.
Good to hear I was right, and it's good to hear you say it.
I mean, I'm disappointed with the outcome, but at the end of the day, look, if they signed with Netflix, right? and it was a $1.5 billion deal or something, I'd be like, what the, like why are you? But you're talking $5 billion. But essentially, let's just talk about it in 5 year. They basically signed a 5 year, $2.5 billion deal.
Guaranteed, I think.
Because let's look at it. Most of these TV's deals are five years, and they were like 1.2. What was it? I think SmackDown was 1.4 billion.
Yep.
For 5 years, they're getting 2.5 billion. You can't beat that. Sorry, like it's just like it is what I'm disappointed in the outcome. That's just like that. You know what it is? That's Netflix trying to branch into live content, and they're just throwing money at it. That's all. You just can't win. And if I'm WWE, I'll take it. I hope it doesn't hurt the product. I hope it doesn't hurt the history of Monday Night Raw. I'm shocked that they're doing it for Raw and not for SmackDown. See, I would think SmackDown.
I don't think Netflix has enough money.
No. What I'm saying is SmackDown is what they should have given to Netflix.
And Raw should have
keep
stayed
Raw
on USA.
on Mondays like it's always been. Okay, on that's what I'm shocked
That's one
at.
thing they said with the deal is it could switch from Mondays for the first
I mean,
time.
Raw's there's something that don't need to be changed. And Monday Night Raw being on Mondays doesn't. And I'm sure it'll still be Monday, but it doesn't need to be changed.
If they went off of Mondays, I would really be interested to hear why, because it's not like, oh, we have all this live programming already. We have Monday Night Football lined up, and you don't want to
it's
go
going
up
to be
against
that.
that.
It's going to be.
The
ratings for Raw was up 20% this week with no Monday Night Football.
I don't unless they get Monday Night Football from ESPN or something. I don't know how.
I wouldn't be surprised if they switch it to Wednesday to go up against Dynamite.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
There's not many options. What,
Especially
Thursday
if-
night? What's on Thursday? Nothing. That's the only night, really.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Saturday night.
No. I mean, if Netflix got Monday Night
What I'm saying
Football.
is if Netflix wanted to move it to a different day, Tuesday's NXT, Wednesday is Dynamite, Thursday's nothing, Friday is Rampage, and Saturday's Collision. We're going to do Sunday Night Raw?
Yeah.
I mean, then
Have they announced what night SmackDown's going to be on? Is it staying on Friday?
I heard it. I think there's a good chance it comes off a Friday. Especially with USA Network. I can see it being a Thursday.
They put SmackDown on Monday nights on USA.
I was gonna say if you
maybe
if you wanted to
Monday Night SmackDown.
if
Maybe
you
that's
wanted
the
to have a
plan. Monday Night
pissing match.
SmackDown.
Friday Night Raw, let's do it. Okay, this week the Royal Rumble is happening. There will be a Royal Rumble.
Tomorrow.
Jesus, we have this whole topic to go. We're stocked.
This
tonight.
one will go quick. We do not have. There's not a lot to talk about. The title will be back on the line again. It is. Every pick is going to mean the world this week, as there are only 4 matches on the card for the whole night. We have 5 point opportunities, I'll call them, for the group. Let's run through them right here. We will start with what I think is going to end up being the curtain jerk. That's going to be Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship.
You don't think they bookend with the Rumble matches? I think they'll do a Rumble match, U.S. Championship, Undisputed Championship.
Women's.
Rumble match.
Here's women. Do I get a point if I get the order right?
You get the order.
You get the
No.
belt.
Do I get a point if we get the order of the matches right?
No.
I'm just trying to add some bonus here. I think it's to be women's. They'll throw in the 2 championships and then the men's.
Yeah,
I think they're
that's
going to
what
end
I
with
think
the
it's
men's.
going to be.
I think if anything, they'll make the women's match the main event. They love doing that.
What? What?
They did that last year.
Even Matt's appalled by
Was
that
it?
statement.
I don't remember.
I think they did. I think I was appalled last year. They did the men's first. They're not doing that. I'm sorry. This men's World Rumble has a lot of drama to it. It ain't going to be starting out.
So-
the
They
show.
have been pushing it very hard.
So, but some new developments this week. Seth Rollins is injured, and it's possible he's missing WrestleMania. So now,
Yeah, they're talking about vacating. Is he gonna have to vacate?
well, they're talking about one of the things they've been pushing behind the scenes is Gunther wins the Rumble and then squashes Seth at
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Elimination Chamber.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. The first match on my card is Logan Paul U.S. Championship versus Kevin Owens. Make a call.
Logan Paul. They're not burying Logan Paul. I'm trying to save you here, Matt. And you know it. You know what? Go Kevin Owens.
He
Go
likes
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens.
Go Kevin
He
Owens.
has a personal. You are
Your
allowing
fandom
your
for Kevin
feelings
Owens is
to
gonna-
cloud your judgment, Luke.
Your fandom for Kevin Owens
You make your pick.
is going to keep that belt with you.
Oh, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Logan Paul's my pick.
Go Kevin Owens.
I'm probably going to lose the Rumble match anyway. So Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Nobody asked you, Steve.
Logan Paul. Logan Paul all around. All right. Men's Royal Rumble. Now, there are only, I think, 11 entrances announced.
Babby Lashley is one of them, too.
So the blue indicates SmackDown. The red indicates Raw, which was my way of saying, hey, guys, we're going to see a lot of SmackDown people announced in the next 24 hours. This is being recorded
tonight on SmackDown.
Yeah, there's going to be a
Let's
lot
be
of
honest,
things
there's only
on
3
SmackDown.
people we're looking at to win the Royal Rumble.
So
Maybe 4.
So your picks are Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Nakamura, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Kofi Kingston,
bad.
Damian Priest, Chad Gable, Otis, Akira Tozawa, or I have other in here, meaning somebody other than these people. If you're bold enough to pick other a few days before the Rumble, God bless you if you're right.
I'm picking
Okay?
other.
The Rock is a surprise entrance and then wins.
I'm picking other, and I'm picking The Rock.
You think it's
Yeah,
other?
for sure. I think The
Wow.
Rock comes, wins the Royal Rumble, it screws over Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, which leads to them battling it out at WrestleMania.
One of my 2024 predictions was that The Rock would be in the Rumble match.
Yeah.
I'm not picking him to win, though.
If he's in it, if he's going to be in it, he's got to win it. He's not going to be in it not to lose. There's no reason for it. So I'm going to save you guys. I'm going to add some Dan advice here. I'm helping you guys. There's 4 options here, fellas. Okay? It's CM Punk, it's Cody Rhodes, it's Gunther, and it's The Rock. Those are the 4 you have available. Throw out all the other ones, and you guys know it. Okay? So who's going to win out of those 4?
God, are they going to come out of nowhere and have like Solo Sikoa?
No. Jeremy, don't even go down those roads. Don't go down those roads.
I was even thinking Damian Priest is an option.
Oh, Jesus. He has the money in the
He's got
bank.
the money in the bank.
Yes.
Why I'm trying to help these two, I don't understand. I'm trying to save you from getting the Divas belt.
CM Punk's gonna win, and it's gonna be a dusty finish. He's gonna beat out The Rock at the end.
Steve, keep it down over there.
Do you know what dusty finish means?
He doesn't know.
Good for him. Good for you. You know what? Even if you don't know what it means, I'm impressed. I'm between CM Punk and Gunther.
Sucks to be Cody Rhodes now, man.
I'm going to say Punk.
Yeah, I'm saying Punk too.
I'm going to say Punk. I have a hard time.
I understand your reasoning, but I don't see The Rock winning. If he does, I'll be...
He really doesn't need it.
I might be disappointed if he does win.
Yeah, I would be unhappy. And especially if he came in like at number 30 or something.
Yeah.
That would disappoint me. All right, let's go to the ladies' match. So right now we only have 6.
Wait, can we confirm all those? I'm The
We
Rock.
both
you're-
said Punk, you said The Rock.
Yep.
Good.
We have a women's row, only 6. We have Bayley, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Maxine Dupree, Ivy Nile, and other. Obviously, only 2 of those women are in SmackDown.
I'm picking mine last.
That's because you don't know who to pick.
Oh, I know who I'm picking.
I'm saying Bailey.
Oh, fuck me. Bailey, I'm just going to say, before he jumps in, and like I'm following both of you. Pick someone else, Jeremy.
I kind of think Belair.
Go for it.
To promote the new show? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a sad way of thinking, and not for you. But that's a sad way for wrestling to be thinking that. This is what I mean. They're gonna have winners.
That's
because
how
new
we
shows
think of
coming out.
WWE,
That's
yeah.
how it is. That's
I kind of
disgusting.
think, I'm kind of thinking Becky Lynch might win too because they've been pushing on Raw. Her and Nia Jax kind of. They've been trying to push some heat between the two of them. Yeah, I'm between Becky and Bianca.
I think if Becky doesn't win, they'll still set up her versus Rhea or a triple threat with her and Nia versus Rhea at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Bianca hasn't really been back. So they might try to do like a surprise entrance with her and have her go over.
I see Bayley winning and going up against Io and breaking up because of the friction in their group there.
She would choose Io
Yep.
to destroy
Damage control.
Damage Control. I almost said Firm Deletion. I'm picking Bianca Belair, which is a risky pick, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she's on the 2K24 cover. She's got a show coming up. And I think there aren't too many women that could they want to give her back the belt. Becky Lynch doesn't need the belt as much as she does. Yeah, I'm going with Bianca Belair. Okay. what will probably be the main event of the night, a fatal four-way match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Does anybody think Roman Reigns isn't going to win this?
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Roman.
I think it's going to be Dusty AF.
I don't think it's going to be the main event just for that reason, because he's not going to lose.
I think it's good. Say that again?
I think it's not going to be the main event because he's not going to lose.
Okay.
It would be the main event if they were going to do
they were gonna turn it
something
over.
special. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think it's going to be a particularly good match either. Something tells me it's just not going to be very good. 4 old dogs in LA Knight, who's the baby of the group at 41. It'll be interesting to see. We definitely will not see the type of 4 pillars match that we saw in AEW last year, unfortunately. Yeah. And then what I'm calling a bonus, which isn't really a bonus, it's a pick, is each one of us has to pick a surprise entrance in either match. So
Nate.
obviously you want your surprise entrance to be The Rock.
No, I'm not gonna get double burned by it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say The Rock wins, but I'm gonna go with the
Now, when I say surprise entrance,
Andrade is my surprise.
Who?
Andrade.
Andrade? That's a pretty safe pick.
I
Okay.
gotta throw in some
What,
points.
what were you saying when you say surprise?
So surprise basically means somebody that either, hasn't shown up in a really long time, has been out injured for an extended period of time.
We all
somebody
know who's a surprise and they
somebody
show up.
that's retired.
Why don't you go with Hulk Hogan?
Well, because I'm saying that I wouldn't count
I think Hulk Hogan shows up, to be honest.
as an entrant. Has to
He
be a
was just
surprise.
talking about it a week ago.
Has to be a surprise, and if he could go over the top ropes and land on the mat without
Yeah.
killing himself,
I don't see that happening.
He was.
I mean,
talking
listen,
about it.
Hulk Hogan wins the Rumble.
Not wins. I'm saying I can see him as like
Put
a
your
fun.
title where your mouth is, then, buddy, and let me put Hogan in here for you as your surprise.
No, I put
pick.
mine in already, and I want to say.
I'm willing to change it for you.
No.
So, just for the record.
First off, I don't play it safe. Okay, we all saw what happened the last time. Okay, I threw out some CM Punk. You remember that? I called some serious shit, and it got me out of getting that belt once already. Just saying.
What's your pick?
Naomi.
Oh,
Okay,
that's a safe one.
that would definitely be, and it is pretty safe, yeah.
Who did Jeremy go with?
I am not going safe at all. I'm going for broke, and if I end up with the title,
If you're wrong, do you lose a point?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just like-
making sure.
it's just like any other
Who you
pick.
going with?
Just making sure.
I'm going with The Undertaker.
Wow, that is bold.
Not safe at all. He's going to be in Clearwater. The night before,
But what's the reasoning?
they were
Because
teasing.
it's a pop.
The Undertaker's a guy that's not going to come back unless it really means something to come back. He's that involved in his character.
He's been under a
he's
Legends
gone,
contract.
He's gone to Saudi Arabia.
He's
And
been under a
wrestle?
Legends
Yes.
contract. He doesn't really have to wrestle.
Brothers
he,
of Destruction versus DX.
he can go over.
That was a long time ago.
That was Saudi. That was after he was supposedly retired.
He can go over the top rope, without
can do a
killing
lot of
himself. As part of the WrestleMania 40 2K24 promotion, I could see him coming out and
Yeah, all the Royal Rumble is about now are the moments. That's all anybody wants
And they
to
don't
see.
have many
so
of them
that-
left.
That would be a big moment.
Who's to
Him
come back
coming
now
out.
that CM Punk's there? There's no one really left for a big surprise.
him coming back. I'm glad nobody at this table picked MJF for the record.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Oh,
no, we can't change it.
Oh boy, I forgot all about that one.
Would you like to change your pick?
Oh no, I'm going deep with The Rock. So this WrestleMania is about, I think, The Rock.
That is true. I have to call out Matt here a little bit. Matt hasn't really made any unsafe picks here. Dan and I both kind of laid ourselves out here, but Matt
Uh-huh.
does not want that.
I do not want this thing.
All right, would anyone like to place any additional wager on anything? Would anybody like to make any additional claims? Would anybody like to wager?
I want to put 5 points on Dan picking one wrong pick.
Ooh, that's like a bet on a bet.
You know what I was just saying a minute ago, and this is how I win: is I lay things out and I almost want to put 3 points on MJF showing up. Hey, did I not? This worked out last time. I
Yes.
think Gold win. It worked
Yes.
out. And if I did, I still would have. You still would have got that right, even if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Let's
was
pee
the
in
point
God's
behind you
face
guys.
twice in a row and see if anything bad happens.
Has
Yes.
he appeared in AEW in anything? Any?
Not since getting beat.
Okay.
Oh man,
But that was only-
he hasn't
it's
appeared
been-
at
That was
all.
only
And
3
it's
weeks
been
ago.
very quiet. I mean, I'll look at his Twitter right now. I don't even think he's tweeted. Like,
I just don't buy the whole.
He sticks with kayfabe, man.
I just
Yeah,
don't
he's
buy the
very-
whole. He's not. If you're with AEW, I just don't know how that makes any sense for him not to be.
his last post
Unless he's really not
is
there.
from December 30th, 2023.
That was the day of the pay-per-view, yeah.
Yep. And it's him after the match, or it looks like right before the match.
Okay, so theoretically, I'm going really, really deep with The Rock showing. I really think he's going to show up and win. So to me, that's a safe bet. I think
I don't think that's a safe bet.
The Rock. Oh, for sure.
That he's gonna win?
MJF is number 30. Comes out, throws the Rock out. And wins.
But see, if I go for MJ,
You're just trying to make him mad.
No. But the reality is, if MJF is, see, I can't. It doesn't make any sense. I want to, but if MJF shows up, he's gonna win it. And if MJF shows up at this point, he has a WWE contract, and he would win it. And he's not showing up and then getting thrown out of the ring. Like, that's just not happening. So if that happens, that's really ruining the whole Rock situation. So I'm getting screwed on that. So I really can't. But then again, if he did show up, my bet on that would cover me losing the Rock bet.
AJ Styles debuted at number 3, and he did not win the Rumble. He got down to the last 4, I think. But
That's true.
so it has happened. They've had a big debut, and they did not win.
Although MJF would be bigger than AJ Styles.
You think so?
I mean, AJ Styles.
AJ Styles was really popular.
Well, this was 2016 though, so this is
17.
long. Sorry, yes, it was
Can
January.
I switch my
2017.
picks?
What would you like to switch?
Well, I think I'm going to go with a calculating pick. I think I'm going to pick MJF to win the Royal Rumble. But for my surprises, I'm going to put The Rock shows up and wins the Royal Rumble and put 3 points on it.
So
I'm trying to get a little bit of the best of both worlds
So
here.
we're gonna say.
Wow.
So we're gonna say. You want to pick 2 winners of the
No,
Royal Rumble?
keep
Yes,
The
he
Rock.
does.
No, keep The Rock as my pick.
You want to
I
pick
am so
30
tempted.
You want to pick
Who
30
brought up,
people to
who
win?
brought, Did you bring up MJF?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
You did that on purpose. I know
course
you
I
did.
did. Of
Because
course
I
I
forgot
did.
all about it.
Of course I did.
Fuck me.
What about Sasha Banks?
You do not get extra points.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's a good one too.
You can add that one. Women's Royal Rumble winner Sasha Banks.
What the hell? 2 points. Sasha Banks shows up. I'm gonna say shows up. I'm not gonna put winning down. I'm gonna say shows up at the rest at Royal Rumble in the Royal Rumble match. Also 2 points. MJF on the Men's Royal Rumble. I got 4 points going here, guys. I'm going
4
all out.
extra points
4
on top
extra
of the
points.
5 we already picked.
Why? I don't need to do that. I'm just doing it for the fun of it, just so we all recognize that. I don't need to put these extra points down. I feel like I'm pretty good right now.
So men's
So if you're wrong on
Royal
both,
Rumble.
If
entrance.
I'm wrong, either one, I'm done.
and you happen to get, let's say, 2 wrong in the other picks,
Yeah.
you could be in negative digits. here.
Whatever.
Theoretically, although he's already won with bonus points before, so
Yeah, it's true.
if you're at the top, you
Right
can
now,
do
I'm
the-
1 for 1 with the
So
damn
hang on,
crazies.
you got 2 on MJF and 2 on Sasha Banks.
yes.
Wow.
Matt, is there?
I really should do one. I really should
Nope,
do
I'm
1
good.
point. There's no reason to do 2, but
I am good with where I am right now.
I think it's pretty safe to say that Matt's walking out not the Divas champion next on Sunday. Saturday
I
night.
sure as heck hope so.
Jeremy and I are taking some leaps here. Well, me a lot more than Jeremy, but
you're going
Well, for a 4-match card, there's not a whole lot of leaps to take.
Yeah, you gotta take some.
Wow. So,
But on the other hand, if he gets everything right, he's gonna have what 9 points
dude,
on
if
a
he
4-point
gets everything
show?
right, I'm gonna start sitting over there and
No,
cheating.
if
on
I
his
get
paper.
everything right, some of these bonus points should carry over to the next pay-per-view.
We're gonna find out that you're on the TKO board,
Yeah.
and this is all you're a mole. You're an inside man.
Insane Games is bought out by TKO.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop texting me, Ari.
Yeah, he's planted a microphone in the writers' room of WWE or something. Yeah. Well, on that note, I will be publicly posting these for your consumption on Twitter, just for full accountability and full transparency. In the meantime, I want to know what your picks are going to be below. Please let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. Check us out. Watch the Royal Rumble on Saturday night. I believe we're going to put a little video together, maybe.
Yep.
Some fun
Should we
videos
put,
you guys
should
can
we put
see.
any points out on how many Twitter, if he's live tweeting during the Royal Rumble?
I'm going to be live. Yeah, I'll be live
But
tweeting
no, the
during
question
the
is
Royal
how many
Rumble.
interactions you get involved with on that.
I am going to pick some fights. So
We should put some points on how many he's going to get into.
Like, there's going to be surprise entrants in there, and I'm just going to start shitting all over them, all over Twitter, and see if we can get some attention. So, yeah, nothing quite like trolling. So, in the meantime, you keep watching, and we'll keep wrestling with the business.